Hi students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian and I'm streaming to you from beautiful Victoria, the capital city of the province of British Columbia here in Canada on the far west coast. I hope everybody has had a super week and I hope you're going to have an even better weekend. Welcome Prachi, hi Marjona. Hi, Jainil, Amir Beck, Diora. Good to see many students already here and ready to learn for this class, everyone. We are looking at an IELTS Speaking Part 2 cue card, and we're focusing on a Band 9 responses, and strategy. This cue card is a cue card that's very similar to a cue card which was on the official IELTS exam about a month ago, and it was sent to us by one of our students as a request. Students, this lesson is brought to you by aehelp.com for academic IELTS success. Definitely check us out there. For the general IELTS, check us out at gieltshelp.com. On both of those websites, we've got tons of materials, practice exams, videos, strategies to help you improve your band scores. We will be using one of these websites today to practice some of our speaking. This is our academic IELTS website here. You can click that big red button up there to join our premium package. It's a one-time payment and you get lifetime access to the materials, so you only pay once. It doesn't cost very much and you get tons and tons of help. We are an official IELTS test registration center in Saudi Arabia and certified British Council agents. We are world leaders when it comes to IELTS exam prep. This is our general IELTS website here. Again, click that big red button up there to join our premium package. And good news, everyone, to help you with your decision, here is a 20% discount code. Just simply use the code R4TYJ during checkout to save that 20%. Okay, we've got tons more students in the class now, which is fantastic to see. Hello, Juman Mirza, Sabara, Navikran, Harwinder. Welcome to our members. Super to see everybody here. Students, follow us on Instagram, IELTS_AE-help and GIELTS help on IG. We post vocabulary and videos and such on Instagram as well. We post reels, check that out. Adrian at aehelp.com if you have questions. That's where you can email me up there. Adrian at aehelp.com. I'll get back to you quite quickly, or one of my colleagues will. And we have lots of classes here. So today is the 10th, and we are looking again at speaking part 2. We will have, so speaking part 2 right now, we will have reading and speaking part 3 tomorrow as well. So we've got one more class this week, lots of classes this week. Now let's get into this speaking part 2 cue card. So we're going to move through this cue card at a good solid pace, because I actually want to do some voice calls today with some of our students and members and give you a chance to actually do a speaking part 2 cue card practice. So it's going to be a bit more challenging, but hopefully we'll have some volunteers for that. We'll get into that later, but you're going to have lots of help because we're going to talk about this question right now and we're going to come up with some possible answers and such. So you're in the IELTS speaking, everyone, and you're in your speaking interview. It takes about 12 minutes. The examiner will ask you about 5 or 6 questions for speaking part 1, and then they'll say, okay, That's the end of part 1. Now we shall continue with part 2. For part 2, I will show you some questions. You will have 1 minute to look at these questions, think about your answers, and then you will have 2 minutes to speak. You have some note paper there, and you have your pen. You can take notes in the 1 minute if you wish. I will tell you when to start, when to stop. Talk about a person you had to be friendly with, but you didn't really like. All right. Well, we're human. It happens, I think, to all of us at least a few times in our lives. Again, I didn't make this up. IELTS made this up. Or I should say they made something similar up. Okay. And then you have the questions here. Okay. Now, here we go, everyone. So I've talked about the right steps for speaking, part 2. Today we're just going to do them together so that we can get through this nice and fast, and then hopefully have a chance to try this cue card with a couple of our students. Does that sound good? Everybody in for that? So we'll go through, we'll give a sample answer, and then after a sample answer, we'll do some voice calls, and I'll give a couple of you some chances to actually answer this question on your own, and then I'll give you some analysis and feedback on what you can do in part 2 to give better, higher level answers. How does that sound? Sounds good? I'm making all these faces waiting for people to let me know if that sounds like a plan. Carolina says that sounds like a plan. Welcome, Carolina, our chat moderator. Mien says, what an interesting cue card. Yeah, Mien, it's actually the official question. So this was on IELTS in November. Okay, Nav Kiran says, great. All right. Okay, so let's do this. So here we go. Talk about a person you had to be friendly with, but you didn't really like. My first step, I'm reading this twice. Who was this person? When did it happen? Why did you why you had to be friendly, and why you don't like him or her? What did you think about it later? Okay, cool. So step 1, I read it twice. I hope most of you did as well. I identified the category as a person and an event. I know that when I'm talking about people, I have to quickly explain what they look like, so their appearance. I have to also talk about their personality. Here, that's very clear because it's going to be a person that I had to be friendly with, but I don't really like. So their personality, and then with actions, right? So personality is always backed up by actions. I don't like them because they're kind of mean. They always throw their garbage on my table. Okay, personality backed up by action. Okay, and then it's also an event, and when it's an event, I have to remember that I need to mention the time, the location. I also have to talk about the attendees, so who was there. Okay, the activities and my experience. Okay, and you know, if I'm sitting in the IELTS exam and I get this question, like talk about a time I had to be friendly with somebody that I didn't really like. I really love people. So for me especially, it's very hard to think of somebody that I don't really like, but I tried to be friendly with them. Also, I'm very honest with people. So if I don't really like somebody, I usually let them know, and I'm definitely not friendly with them. So for me, I'd have to make up this answer. Like for me, it would be almost impossible to think about a real situation. So I would actually just have to make it up, okay? As I'm sure many of you would as well. All right, so my next step, I would have to think about some possible situations where I would meet a person who I don't really like, but I have to be friendly with them. All right, and the first thing that comes to mind is that I need something from them. Okay, so because I need something valuable from this person. So before I decide who to talk about and what kind of situation to talk about, I would definitely have to think about, you know, who are people that I meet with that I need something from, that I have to be friendly with, okay? So, Janelle, this can't be too hard because, like I say, this was a question on the IELTS exam not so long ago, okay? So you have to be able to do this, all right? So who are people that we have to be kind of friendly with because they have a big impact on our lives, but we might not necessarily like them all that much. Okay, and maybe some people are this way with me. I don't know. I hope not. I hope all of you kind of like me. All right. Meanwhile, while you're thinking about who these people are, Puncham says, "Hey, Adrian, I got my IELTS test results today. Got a 7.5 in speaking and 8 overall. Your prediction was spot on. Thanks for all the amazing content." So, Puncham, I nailed your speaking score, right? That's awesome. Congratulations, by the way. That's a super, super score. Please send me a testimonial. Send me an email, okay, Puncham? We love getting our testimonials, our feedback from all our success stories, okay? All right. Yeah, Marjona says maybe some teachers. Yeah, teacher, professor. Okay, yeah, definitely. And honestly, I'm sure there has been situations in my life where I've been friendly with a teacher, even though I didn't really like them because I knew that I need to get a good grade in this class, right? Okay, girlfriend's brother. Yeah, in-laws. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. In-laws, like, for example, mother-in-law. Yeah. Or girlfriend's brother. Yeah, so relatives, sure. If you don't want bad blood in the family, definitely. Okay. Yeah, maybe a project teammate. Okay. Yeah, we work on projects with people that we sometimes don't like, but for the success of the project, we got to get along, right? So we have to get along with them, okay? Yeah, Anne and Julia both at the same time just about say the boss, right? Ugh. I've got a couple people who work, I want to say with me, but they kind of work for me, but I love them, and I hope that they like me as well. So the boss, okay? All right. Yeah, so there's definitely some people there that will work for this cue card. Okay, now I just have to pick one and then develop the speaking, right? So I'm going to go, again, like I said, I'm going to go at a good steady pace here. Not fast, but I'm going to be steady with the pacing here. So I'm just going to go with professor, and I'm going to be more specific here. So I'm going to say biology professor, Mr. Andrews. I'm not going to say Mr. Smith because it's maybe a little too obvious that I'm making it up. Okay, so biology professor, Mr. Andrews. And then I also think about the event. Okay, final presentation. So I'm thinking of an event where it's very subjective, where the marking is very subjective. So it's important for the person to think that I'm charismatic to maybe get a bit of a better mark. I'm surprised, by the way, that nobody said IELTS examiner. Probably don't pick that one for your answer during your speaking interview, but just the thought, right? I know that some people have complained about their IELTS examiner being very grumpy and interrupting them while they're speaking. And you're probably still being friendly, but I would not choose that one during your speaking exam, okay? All right, so I'm going to go with the biology professor here, Mr. Andrews. And final presentation, that's going to be about heart anatomy. Okay. So I'm not overcomplicating it. All right. Good. I got a couple of laughs out of you. That's nice. All right. So that's who I'm going to talk about. And then I've got my notes, right? So for my notes, I got to talk about appearance. So the way Mr. Andrews looks. Okay. Let's do it like that. So Mr. Andrews is a short, bald man with a big belly. And a grumpy look. Okay, so It's like I'm talking about one of the 7 dwarves out of Snow White. So it's a short, bald man with a big belly and a grumpy look on his face. All right. And then I talk about his actions. He's rude. He interrupts students. Okay. So action is always has to be backed up by personality. Okay. He's strict. Gives low grades. He's disorganized. Comes to class late. He's unfair. I'm just making this up. So if there's a Mr. Andrews out there in the world, I'm not talking about you. All right, this is just a made-up, fictitious Mr. Andrews. So he's unfair. His exams, he has pop quizzes all the time. Okay. All right. And he's a hard marker. All right. So action and personality together. Okay. So when you're talking about a person, always talk about their personality and the action. So what they're like and how we can see that in the real world. Now, of course, remember the cue card. So who was this person? When did it happen? Why you had to be friendly, okay? And what did you think about it later, all right? Okay, so when did it happen? 4th year bio, okay? So 4th year biology class. I'm writing some short notes here. Navkiran says maybe he was also biased. Yeah, that's a good word to use, Navkiran, biased. Favored students. Yeah, maybe favored some students. Okay, sure. It was a 4th year bio project. When did it happen? Last semester, so maybe April. Why did this happen? So we already said that it's my presentation, heart, okay, human heart anatomy, we got that. Why did I have to be friendly with this person, right? So the activities that happen, maybe it's a 20-minute presentation. Why did I have to be friendly? For my GPA, right? I needed to get a really good GPA. Now, if you use acronyms in your speaking, like GPA, remember to use the full word as well. Anybody know what GPA means? So maybe we're friendly with Mr. Andrews because we need a good score so that we can get that perfect GPA so we can apply for a master's degree. What does GPA mean, students? It's 3 words in English. Yeah, Anton just asked me, what is GPA? It's a very important word, or acronym, I should say. Or sorry, abbreviation. It's not an acronym, it's an abbreviation. Mian says it's a grade point average. That's right. Okay, so your grade point average, graduate school. So I had to keep up my grade point average for graduate school. Remember numbers, right? Very useful. So 85%. Okay. All right. And don't forget the cue card questions. It was worth it. All right. So if I'm sitting the IELTS exam and I've got 1 minute preparation time, what I would do is I would read, again, the cue card twice. I would identify it's a person and event. I would think about some options here. These are very, very important. Remember these for later on in today's lesson. Okay, and then I would do my notes very importantly. All right, and I would use my notes. And then I would have my first sentence ready. Okay, so first sentence. Students, you can write your first sentences. I'll take a look at them. Okay, so first sentence ready. Okay, so here my first sentence. I'm going to write my first sentence. This is before my 1 minute is up. Okay, before my 1 minute is up, I write my first sentence so that I can start speaking right away. Okay, So I distinctly remember having to be friendly with my biology professor, Mr. Andrews, even though, and be respectful, students, so don't, try to avoid words like even though I hate him. So even though I didn't much like him at all. Okay. All right, so that would be my first sentence here. So I distinctly remember having to be friendly with my biology professor, Mr. Andrews, even though I didn't much like him at all. Okay, so he is a short, bald man with glasses and a big belly. And he always has a grumpy look about him. Okay, so now I'm just getting into my cue card and notes and going through those points and putting it all together in full sentences joined together with conjunctions. Okay, so step by step. Okay. Anton says, I loathe him badly. Yeah, loathe someone means to not like someone. Yeah, it's good. Vishal, if the video is blurry for you, just change to your resolution to 720p. Okay. All right. Asma, we would never say if I unwind my memories. Okay. And it's awkward. So I remember. Just simply say, I remember. There was this professor from the biology faculty, Mr. Andrews, who I disliked. He's short with a protruding belly and never had a smile on his face. Okay? Asma, simplify. Too complex, Asma, and too many mistakes. Okay? Bandita says, I clearly remember that I needed to be friendly with my previous company manager. Bandita, don't do a different person yet. Stick with Mr. Andrews. You're going to have chances to speak later when we're doing voice calls. So a little bit later on, okay? All right. All right. Prachi says, first of all, confidence is good and don't stop if you don't know the answer. Definitely stop if you don't know the answer and think about the answer. If you're just talking and talking and talking, you're going to get a horrible score if you're not talking about the right answer. Okay, so if you don't know the answer, stop, think about the answer first. Arwinder says, the one acquaintance whom I had to pretend to be friendly with is Mr. Anderson. He was my biology teacher. Yeah, very good. Yeah, okay. So, and I like the word pretend and loathe. Those are some good words. Maybe I'll use those in a bit. Okay, so he is a short, bald man with glasses and a big belly, and he always has a grumpy look about him. I loathed him because I always felt that he was an unfair teacher. He would give pop quizzes that we hadn't learned the information for. Also, he was biased. He favored students that were nice to him. So I thought it would be a good idea if I pretended to like him as well. Especially during my final year, I had to give a big presentation at the end of Mr. Andrews' class, which would greatly impact my GPA. And since I needed an overall grade point average of 85% or better for my graduate studies, it was really important for me to get a good grade on this final presentation. Even though I loathed Mr. Andrews for many reasons, like always showing up late for lectures, I would often compliment him about his smarts and his funny jokes. Okay, so again, I'm really just visualizing Mr. Andrews here and thinking continuously about the question and about the cue card. Okay, so at this point, I'm going along well, and I've thought about a lot of the notes here that I've said. I haven't talked about giving this presentation about the heart for 20 minutes. And I also look at the cue card while I'm doing this. So do I answer who this person was? Yes. Do I answer when it happened? Kind of. Do I answer why I had to be friendly and why I don't like them? Yeah, I've done a pretty good job of that. Have I answered what I thought about this person later? Not yet. So I have to answer that. And it's very, very important. Okay? All right. So fortunately, my attitude and presentation were well received. I gave a 20-minute talk about the heart's anatomy, and Mr. Andrews rewarded me with a score of 90%. In hindsight, I feel that even though I didn't express my true feelings towards my prof, I had made the right decision for my own future. At the end of the day, my graduate studies are way more important than having arguments with teachers who I won't likely meet again in coming years. Okay, so a lot of typing there, but I got it done, and I went through my notes, I went through my cue card, and I've got about 2 minutes of speaking here. If I'm nice and fluent, I've got lots of great paraphrasing, okay? And I see that many students in the chat also are doing a great job of writing these sentences. So if you're kind of thinking the same as me, if you're writing the same as me, that's super, super fantastic, because in a couple of minutes, I'm going to give a chance for people to actually practice a cue card response with me. And then I'm going to give you feedback, okay? So we've got a good amount of time in the class. But before we do that, I want you to really warm up your kind of speaking muscles and speaking neurons in English in your brain. so that you can be really confident when you're doing this, okay? All right. So what we're going to do, everyone, is look at the question. We're going to read the answer. Try to just repeat the answer and not read it if you feel confident, okay? And then we will do some voice calls after. I'll give you some instructions on how to do that, okay? So here we go, everyone. So this is IELTS Speaking Part 2 cue card. Talk about a person you had to be friendly with, but you didn't really like. Who was this person? When did it happen? Why you had to be friendly, why you don't like him or her. What did you think about it later? Here we go, everyone. The examiner says, okay, Adrian, your 1 minute preparation time is up. Please begin speaking. Again, students, this is speaking, so make sure to speak and repeat. Okay, this will help you for the next step. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. I distinctly remember having to be friendly with my biology professor, Mr. Andrews, even though I didn't much like him at all. He is a short, bald man with glasses and a big belly, and he was always grumpy, had a grumpy look about him. I loathed him because I always felt that he was an unfair teacher. He would give pop quizzes that we never learned the information for. He was biased. He favored students that were nice to him. So I thought it would be a good idea if I pretended to like him as well. Especially during my final year, I had to give a big presentation at the end of Mr. Andrews' class, which would greatly impact my GPA. And since I needed an overall grade point average of 85% or better for graduate studies, it was really important for me to get a good grade on his final presentation. Even though I loathed Mr. Andrews for many reasons, like always showing up late for lectures, I would often compliment him about his smarts and his funny jokes. Fortunately, my attitude and presentation were well received. I gave a 20-minute talk about the heart's anatomy, and Mr. Andrews rewarded me with a score of 90%. In hindsight, I feel that even though I didn't express my true feelings towards my prof, I had made the right decision for my own future. At the end of the day, my graduate studies are way more important than having arguments with teachers who I won't likely meet again in coming years. Okay, Adrian, your 2 minutes is up. I'll stop you there. And now I will ask you some questions connected to your response and some questions related to this topic for part 3. Let's talk about being friendly. Okay, and that part 3 will be in tomorrow's class, okay? So make sure you come up and show up tomorrow as well, and we'll practice that. But don't go anywhere, because now you're going to get a chance to talk, and what you should be doing right now, everyone, because I'm sure a lot of people are like, ooh, this is going to be challenging and exciting. So remember, students, that we came up with some other really good ideas. Where are those ideas? Oh, there they are. You can see them. Okay, so we talked about our teacher and professors, so don't really talk about that one. But we said there's also other people we have to be friendly with sometimes, like in-laws, like a brother-in-law, mother-in-law, father-in-law. Maybe a person that we worked on a project with, maybe a manager or a boss, right? So those are some other people that we have to be friendly with. So I am going to call some of our students, and we're going to do this speaking part 2. I'm going to be the examiner, of course, and you're going to be the candidate. And choose one of these people right now and write down some notes. So take the next minute to choose an in-law, like a mother-in-law, father-in-law, choose a project teammate, choose a manager, and write down some notes. And then I'm going to take some volunteers, and we're going to practice this. Okay. All right. How do you volunteer? Right? That's a good question. Okay. So to volunteer for this speaking part 2, this is what you need to do. First, you have to go to our website. Go to this website here with the blue background, okay? And then if you want to buy our full course, click that red button always, but you can also try it for free by clicking this green button right there. And then once you do that, you'll have this My Student account that's right up at the top of the page there, the My Student account. And then in your My Student account, you have this student partner speaking that's right there above my head, okay? And you click on that student partner speaking. By the way, if you want to do a full IELTS interview practice with me, you can always log in and use this speaking interview practice function on the website. It's a paid service, but it's really well worth it. You get a lot of good pointers and feedback to maximize your speaking scores. And then, okay, so student partner speaking, you click on that. I'm going to get my headset on here. And then you will be on this page here, and right now we have Manish, Hamidul, Kaushal, Niyaz, Barai, Mehul, Max, Amrit Paul, Marjona, Manpreet, Carolina, Abdel Rahman, and Bandita all in here. So let's see if any of these people would like to volunteer and practice this cue card question. Now, when we start, students, I'm just simply going to say, okay, your 1 minute preparation time is up. Please begin speaking. And then just start speaking. If you make mistakes, don't worry about it. Okay? I will definitely help to analyze and correct those mistakes. So hopefully some of you chose a boss or a manager or an in-law. You took some notes. And you're ready to go. Right now, we have Bandita, I think, who is maybe wanting to volunteer. Let's see. I'm going to send a message. Bandita says, hi, sir, can I participate? Sure, Bandita. I don't think we've done a speaking yet, so we can do this. Make sure you have your microphone and your speaker enabled. And I'm going to reach out to you. Are you ready, Bandita, to do a volunteer for this speaking part 2? Let's see. And then we'll see if Bandita is ready to do this. All right, Bandita says, sure. All right, Bandita, thank you. Let me call you and let's connect. Thank you. Let me call you and let's connect. Hi, Bandita. Can you hear me? Just voice call, no video. Bandita, are you there? I heard the feedback, so I guess you picked up. But maybe your microphone or your speaker is not enabled. You have to check that, okay? All right, Bandita, I'll get back to you, okay? It sounds like you're not quite there, which is okay. Or we might have even gotten disconnected, I'm not sure. Okay, so let me try someone else. If we can't connect, don't panic, just check your settings later and I'll remember you and I'll connect to you after. Dehat, you'll hear it, so you will hear the people talking with me as well. Abdel Rahman is also, I think, wanting to volunteer, so I'm going to see if I can reach out to Abdel Rahman. So Abdel, are you ready? Let's hopefully connect. Okay, again, remember, students, enable your microphone and your speaker. Okay. All right, and thank you for the Super Chat donations, X. I see that as well. Okay. If you're giving me Super Chat donations, I'll definitely try to look for you when you're volunteering. Okay. So I've just sent, okay, so there's Abdel Rahman. Abdel Rahman says yes. Okay, I'm going to call Abdel Rahman and we'll see if I can connect with Abdel Rahman. Okay, calling Abdel Rahman. By the way, students, when you pick up the call, please mute YouTube so we're not getting lots of feedback through the mic. Okay. And also in some countries, you might be limited. If you can't use Skype or WhatsApp in your country, you probably can't use our voice call service either, so you have to use a VPN in that case. Okay. All right. Okay, not picking up. Let's try somebody else. Carolina, maybe I'll just test the system with Carolina real quick just to make sure that the mistake or problem is not coming from my site. I'm just going to check that. Carolina, are you okay for me to just give you a quick call, make sure everything's working, and then we'll try some other students. Again, students, remember, you have to log in and you have to enable your microphone and your speakers in the browser, and you should be in a country where you're able to use things like Skype and WhatsApp. Okay. All right, so let me see if I can, yeah, so there's Carolina. I can see that Carolina just sent me a message. Carolina is a chat moderator. Yeah, we're just going to do a test, Carolina, absolutely, okay. So I'm calling Carolina. Okay, so I'm just calling you, Carolina. Let's see if we can connect.
Hello?
Hi, Carolina. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can absolutely hear you. So Carolina is in Argentina, everybody, and I guess you can all hear her as well. So that means that everything is working fine in our system. You can hear me okay, Carolina, right?
Yes.
And other students, members, can you hear Carolina as well? If you can, let me know. And then that means that everything is working. I just need to connect with someone. Okay. Carolina, thanks a ton for helping us test the system, and thank you for moderating our chat and keeping it clean and helping students, okay?
my pleasure.
Okay, all right, Carolina, we'll talk later, okay?
Okay, bye.
Bye. All right, so it definitely works, everyone. So we just need a volunteer who's in a country that can connect, and then we'll do this speaking part 2. All right, do we have any other volunteers? So we have lots of people in here. I can see Manish, Hamidul, Kushal, Niaz, Burai, Mahul, Max, and so on. Maybe I'll just reach out to somebody. I'll reach out to Max to see if Max would like to volunteer. And then, by the way, students, when you're looking for speaking partners, you can use this service. So you can talk to everybody, not just me here, okay? So hi, Max. Would you like to volunteer? I know that part 2 cue card's a little bit scarier because you have to talk longer, but don't worry about it. Okay, be the first, be the brave. Okay, so I'm just going to give Max a chance here to see if Max would like to volunteer. But I did hear a message from Bandita again. Okay. All right, let me reach out to Bandita again and see if Bandita's maybe fixed the problem on their end. Yes, sure. So Bandita's saying, can you call me again? Okay, let's try this again, Bandita. All right, here we go.
Hello.
Hi, Bandita.
Yeah, hi. Hi again.
Okay, good. So you picked up. Just make sure to mute YouTube.
Hi, Bandita.
Yeah, hi.
Okay, that's why we're getting feedback, is because you have audio coming from YouTube as well. So just mute YouTube for now.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I already muted.
Awesome, 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 awesome. Okay, and thank you for volunteering and being the first one to volunteer. That's super brave of you. I'm sure lots of people are going to appreciate that you did that. Okay, so Bandita, we'll do the speaking part 2, okay? I am just going to tell you that I'll read the topic again. I'll tell you that your 1-minute preparation time is up. And then all you have to do is just speak and do your best, be confident, be yourself, and then I'll give you some feedback after. Does that sound like a plan?
Yes, sure.
Okay. So, talk about a person you had to be friendly with, but you didn't really like. Your 1-minute preparation time is up. Please begin speaking.
Yeah, so I clearly remember that I need to be friendly with one of my previous company manager, even though I did not like him at all. By look, he is tall and with always having a serious look, but he is good to his favored people. So I hate him as I always felt that he was biased and does favor towards certain colleagues. Uh, but during my last appraisal period, I thought if I'll be good, if I pretend to be good, then he might be giving a good hike to me, even though I don't like for various reasons like not providing good technical projects. So I tried that option like last year in one of my appraisal period, and it really worked well. I was expecting a 20% hike because as I was behaving nicely with him, he has given me a beyond my expectation, which is nothing but a 60% hike in my salary. So I thought it is a good practice, like to be good to to the unfavored people at one point of time, because it might give some advantages, and maybe we can improve in our career prospect or other future improvements.
All right, your 2 minutes is up, and I will stop you there, Bandita.
Yeah,
And now
yeah,
we
thank you.
will continue with part 3. For this part, I will ask you a question related to your response and some questions on this topic. And then we get into part 3, and that's how it works. Okay, Bandita, that was not bad at all. So that was pretty solid, okay? I would comfortably say that that was a band 6.5 to 7. Okay, so if you get a little bit lucky with your examiner, they'll give you a band 7, maybe even a 7.5. So the way I sometimes tell this to students is if you sat the IELTS exam 10 times with 10 different examiners, I think 6 of them would give you a band 6.5, 3 of them would give you a band 7, and 1 would give you like a band 7.5. Because speaking is subjective, so it's hard to have
Yeah,
the same score, right? But I think you're a solid 6.5 and even a band 7 and easily a 7.5. Now, you can be a 7.5. That's what I mean by easily a 7.5 is you can be a 7.5 because I think you have some really good English skills. So you have very good fluency. So I can tell that you use English frequently. Your fluency is easily a band 7 to an 8. You have good coherence, and that's the most important. So you stayed mostly on topic. You gave new information for most of your answers, so you didn't repeat yourself that much. You answered, I believe, all of the questions on the card, which was good. Okay, um, and um, and now you're probably wondering, like, well, okay, how can I improve, right?
yes, yes,
Okay, all right. Your start was good. You said, yeah. So I clearly remember I had to be friendly with a previous company manager. He had a serious look. He was nice to his favorite people. And you used a strong word. You said, I hated him because he was biased. And that's okay. The examiner is not going to take marks for using a word like hate. It's absolutely okay to do that. Okay. And then you kept going. The beginning of your response was like a 7.5, even an 8. It was a little bit later that your marks started to go down a bit. So
yeah,
you said that during your appraisal, and this was where I was a little bit confused, you were really nice to him because you wanted to get a hike. By hike, I guess you mean like a pay raise?
yes, yes.
Okay, so in my part of the world, using the word hike
Is a
for
mountain hiking. Okay,
is
hiking.
yeah, it's a bit unclear, right? So if you
Mm-hmm.
say pay hike, it's still a bit awkward, but
Mm-hmm.
it's unclear. So I have to kind of guess from the context what you're saying.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now, the one way that you can like a kind of a trick or a strategy to fix that
Mm-hmm.
is if you say hike the first time, because maybe in Britain or in the UK they might use that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like I've heard pay hike before, but it's not so commonly used. You can paraphrase it. Like you can say pay raise or higher salary. And you did say it a second time, but you still said hike. So instead of saying hike, you should have said something like, so in the end, I got a raise in my salary of 60%, which is less than I hoped, but I'm sure it's still much better than if I had been rude with him. Okay? All right?
Yes.
So that's kind of one of the important fixes in your response is do a little bit more paraphrasing, use a little bit more words or more variety of words to make your response a little bit clearer. Okay, so different words will help to clarify the information. And then at the end of your speaking, you started to generalize your response. Like you said, if we are kind to people. Don't do that. So don't generalize your response. Don't switch to people and us and we. Keep it to yourself. So I felt that if I'm good to Mr. Smith, my manager, I will be able to make more money. So it was valuable. I did get a pay raise and now I can afford a better apartment, better food. So yeah, it was a good decision. And it's all about you. Okay?
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Okay? That will also help you to speak clearer and speak more when you keep it to yourself. Okay?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so we're just going to do one little repetition practice just so this kind of sticks with you and sticks in your mind, okay? So I'm going to say a sentence, repeat the sentence. If it's not exactly the same, that's okay. Just try to repeat the information. So I'll say the sentence, you repeat, and then we'll go to two. We'll do two of these, okay? So here we go. Okay, so 3, 2, 1. So in the end, I got a raise in my salary of 60%. It's less than I hoped for, but I'm sure it's still much better than if I had been rude with him.
Yeah. So in the end, I got a pay rise from my manager, which was beyond my expected, and it's really good to be nice to him.
Okay, good. So you said a little bit differently, but that was good. I like how you paraphrased the pay raise, which is really important. Okay, so so in the end, it's good to be nice with people when we have our own interest in mind. Okay, I'll say that one more time. So in the end, it's good to be nice with people when we have our own interest in mind. When you're ready.
Yeah. So in the end, it would be good to be nice to people when it is our a kind of need.
When it is in our own interest.
Okay. When it is in our own interest.
That's how we naturally express it. Yeah. Okay. Very good, Bandita. That was awesome. And good for you for being the first live class Q Card Part 2 volunteer ever on our channel. That's amazing. Incredible. Well done. So everybody give Bandita a round of applause. That was really fantastic. She did a really, really good job. And that was very courageous of her. So give her a hand. Thank you so much, Bandita. Keep up the good studies. Keep coming to class, and I'm sure you're going to improve.
Yeah, thank you, Etienne.
Okay.
Valuable comments.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
All right, so that was Bandita. Okay, I'll take one more for today. So let's see if there's anybody else who is going to be brave and who wants to try this with me. Okay. All right. Lots of applauses for Bandita too. That was really great. Okay. So we have our member here, Bakrat. And Bakrat, I'm not sure if we've even had a chance to speak here. Let's see. Are you still here? Because I think you just disappeared. Okay. All right. Let's reach out. Maybe Hasna would want to give this a shot. Okay. Hasna says, I want to volunteer. Okay, Hasna, let's try. Okay. Are you ready? So Hasna is also one of our longtime channel members. Let's see if Hasna, we've had a chance to speak with Hasna before, but not for part 2. So let's see if we can reach out to Hasna for some part 2 practice. And Hasna, when you pick up the phone, make sure to mute YouTube so we're not getting feedback into your microphone, okay? Or you guys can use a headset like what I'm doing, and then that works as well. Okay, Hasna says she's good to go, so let's reach out to Hasna. Here we go. All right, so calling Hasna. Hi, Hasna.
Hello,
How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you, sir?
I am doing fantastic. My energy level is back to 100%, even though my voice not yet, but that's okay. Hopefully by next week that will be good to go. Okay, Hasna, so let's do this part 2. Just like we did with Bandita, I'm going to read the topic of the cue card. I'll let you know that your 1 minute is up, and then you can begin speaking. Sounds good?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So talk about a person you had to be friendly with, but you didn't really like. Your 1 minute preparation time is up. Please begin speaking.
I remember having to be friendly with my roommate, Mindy. She was messy, dirty, talkative, clumsy, doesn't take wonders, and doesn't do chores. However, she was really good in academic marks, and I needed her to teach me biology. Even though she has a messy wardrobe, I can help her tidying up, and she can help me with my academic works. Mhm. In my hindsight, it's not really bad having a clumsy friend where you can help her tidying up her things, and she can help you with your academics.
Okay, your 2 minutes is up. I'll stop you there, and now we'll continue with part 3. All right. Okay, Hasna, awesome. So Hasna was super brave. Give her an applause. I'm going to give you some feedback, Hasna. That was really good of you. I know it's like, isn't it enough pressure just to speak to the examiner? Now I got to do it in front of a whole bunch of people. but hey, that's the way we build confidence. So public speaking is, it's tough, it's challenging, and you have to be brave, and you just have to do it. I wasn't born like this either. I just did it a lot during my life. So, Anik, I see your question. I'll answer that later in your super chat donation. So Hasna, I'll analyze your response and I'll give you some feedback. Okay, that would probably score you like a band 5. Okay, for that response. All right. Band 5, so Band 6 on the IELTS means fluent speaker. Band 5 means that you can talk, you can express your ideas, but your language is broken, so you're not being fluent. You're taking awkward stops here and there to think about what you're saying or think about how you're saying it. Where that was very clear, for example, is where you said, however, she was really good in academic marks. You can just say academics, Hasna. So academics is a noun as well. So she was really good in academics. Are you still there, Hasna?
Yes.
Okay. So okay, I'm it sounds like I'm just talking, but I am talking to you. So there's an easier way to say academics. What's the easier way? So she's really good in. Don't use academics. Choose an easier word. What's an easier word than academics?
School works.
School, just school. Not even school works, just school. So, however, she's really good in school. Okay. Yeah, so one tip for you to improve your band score in part 2 is choose the easy path, especially in part 2. Okay, maybe save the more advanced vocabulary for part 1 or part 3 answers when you're just answering in a short shorter sentence. But for part 2, where you have to be really fluent, be very careful trying to insert more advanced words or expressions, because that can also break your fluency. And it's more important to keep your fluency than to have a really fancy word in part 2. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so next time you just want to say, however, she was really good in school and I needed her help with my biology class. Okay, I'm going to say that one more time. Just repeat after me. However, she was really good in school and I needed her help in biology class.
However, she was really good at school and I needed her help for biology class.
Much better. Okay, that's a band 7-8 level there. Okay, with that. All right. Okay, also at the beginning when I said your 1-minute preparation time is up, please begin speaking. Maybe you were really nervous, your voice kind of got caught in your throat. I know that happens when I'm really nervous too. So you were a little bit late to start. It took you a few seconds to start that first sentence. You want to overcome that. So that's a big part of performing well, is just speaking right away. And even if you have to kind of do that by reading your first sentence off your notes, that's okay. Like if you have to look at your notes and go, oh, a person I remember, and then look up who I had to be friendly with, but help your paper or get your paper to help you to start speaking. Did you pick that up?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so it's a good strategy because, yeah, at first the examiner might think, oh, that's really weird that she's reading her first sentence, but they'll realize that, oh, okay, you did that to just build your fluency and build your confidence, and that's a very clever trick, okay? As long as you look at them for most of the 2 minutes, they don't care about you looking at the paper. In fact, I know that you stopped at one point to check your notes and the questions. So when you said... you were helping her and to clean up, and she was helping you with biology. There was a pause there suddenly, and I knew that, okay, I could, even though I can't see you, I could feel that you were checking your notes. Is that true? Were you checking your notes during that point?
Yes.
Yeah, so I could feel that. Yeah, I could feel that. I could absolutely clearly feel that, Hasna, that you're checking your notes there, and that's totally fine. Okay, if the examiner sees that you're checking your notes to remind you of what you want to say, that's a good idea. It's much, much better than repeating yourself or going off topic. Okay, so it's okay to do that. For everybody who's listening and watching the stream, they were probably like, oh, why is there that weird stop? But it wasn't a weird stop. I knew that you were stopping to check your notes, and that's okay, all right? Okay, then at the end it got a little bit confusing, and you even started to use like you, where you can do this and you can do that, and you're clumsy friends. I don't have clumsy friends, at least I don't think I do. So you shouldn't use the word you. Just keep it to I and me and my, okay? And if you feel like you've really finished and you've got nothing left to say, then just stop. The examiner will say, okay, let's go to part 3, okay?
Okay.
All right, so keep practicing this part, okay, Hasna? Big tips here are use your first sentence, even start by reading it just to get going right away. Build the fluency, build the confidence. Choose easier words in part 2 to maintain your fluency, and stay on topic. Keep talking about yourself. Don't talk about people or about the examiner, okay?
Okay.
All right. Okay, Hasna, that was super, super brave of you. Keep up the good studies and record yourself on your phone. Listen back, okay? All right. Okay. You are very welcome. Okay, so that was Hasna, everyone. Please give her a big round of applause. She was very, very brave. I mean, again, doing part 2 cue card on the IELTS just for one person is very daunting. Doing it with me, with hundreds of people watching, is crazy scary. So good job, Hasna. Way to build your confidence. Okay, everyone, that's all the time I have for today. In fact, I'm even over time a little bit, which is not a problem. I'm glad that we were able to get 2 people in there today for speaking part 2. Next time, I'll try to get even more people in there. And the way we can do that, everyone, is to make sure that your microphone and your speaker and the website is working for you in your country. So please go to your My Student account at aehelp.com. Click on that My Student or student partner speaking, chat with other students, test it out, see how it works. And then when you're in this live class, it's going to be much, much smoother for us, okay? Carolina, thank you so much for moderating. By the way, everyone, if you want to do a full speaking interview with me, click on that speaking interview practice button, okay? Make sure to get our premium IELTS package. It's worth it. At aehelp.com. It's that website that we're just at. So aehelp.com for academic IELTS and gieltshelp.com for general IELTS. They both have the same speaking interface. So you can use the speaking on either website. They're connected. Okay. You can use the code R4TYJ to get a 20% discount. So even some more help. Janelle, you're very welcome. Thank you, members, for your support. I saw some super chat donations. And I saw a question in there too from one of the donations from Anik Kadri. Said, how can I improve my communication skills? Anik, can you please send me an email to adrian@aehelp.com? I'll look for your email and I'll give you some good tips on how to improve your communication. Okay, everyone, have an awesome rest of your day. I'll be back tomorrow, reading class for members tomorrow, and then another speaking part 3 tomorrow. I'll connect with students, and we're continuing from this speaking part 2. So come back tomorrow at this time and hang out with me, learn some English. You're all amazing, beautiful people, and don't let anybody else try to convince you otherwise. I'm Adrian. I'm signing out from Victoria for now. Much love to all of you. Goodbye.